Good job, Cody. That is an example of perseverance right there. That's what we're talking about, so that worked out well. Just go right on, plow right on through. There's a good thing. All right, so Cody has an answer. Now all of you in your heads think of one. What are the times in your life that you were forced into being patient? You probably have one or two in your head that think, well, I remember that. Maybe somebody's saying, well, I'm in one right now. I'm thinking about that. When I ask a question like that, it's going to get everybody. Sometimes in preaching, because of the wide variety of people in any audience, you wonder, is everybody on board? Are they getting it? Out. There it is. And everybody gets it. There's not anybody here who says, I have no experience with needing patience. I don't have any experience with being impatient. So I know we're all on the same page. And that, therefore, is very easy to talk about. Our theme for Connect Sunday in the fruit of the Spirit today, patience. All right, let's think about patience for a minute. First of all, let's think about what does the Bible say about this word? What am I supposed to know about the word patience? Well, now, in our language, we basically say that patience, long-suffering, perseverance, it's all the same word. Every one we use, we mean the very same context, no matter what. And basically, that's understandable. I get that. The New Testament uses two words in the original language to talk about the subject that we would call patience. And in that usage, those two words, while they are at times interchangeable, they are also able to express different emphases within those words. And so there are two thoughts that seem to me to be true about this concept as these words are used. One of them is a word, makrathumia. And it's a word that we might say is long-suffering. And it's a word that looks mostly at the present and says, right now, here's what I'm doing. And so it looks right around where we are, and it says, this is me right here. Well, it's used by God in Romans 2 and 4. Do you despise the goodness and the patience of God? God is patient. In the moment, Romans 9 and 22, God says, so what if I endured with patience the vessels of wrath prepared for destruction? I think he's talking about heathen nations of the past, that in every moment God was just waiting. He was patient. He didn't eradicate them. He had a purpose for them. And so in the moment, he was patient. And that's the idea, I think, of that term, long-suffering. And the word breaks down as a compound word, makros, great, thumia, spirit, passion. So to be long-suffering is to have a great passion, and yet under control. That's the idea behind the word. Now, the second word in the Greek is pronounced hupomene. And it's a word that means under, hupo, remain. Hupomene says, stay there, stay under that. Well, that makes sense in perseverance, right? Because now he's saying, you stay there. Why? Well, I think this word is talking about the future. This word is emphasizing the idea of saying, I'm here because of what's out there. I'm going to stay here because I'm looking out there. I'm going to hold on. Jesus in Luke 21, verse 19 said, in this perseverance, possess your soul. How many people on a daily basis consider their souls for the future? How many people really think today, I have a soul that has an eternal destiny, one way or the other? And so he's saying, you're under it here because of what's out there, and you better be careful. In Romans 8 and verse 25, hope, he says, saves us. And if we wait for that which we do not see, which is hope. Hope, when you see it, is not hope. And he says, if we wait for that which we do not see, then with hope or patience or perseverance, we wait for it. We just stay there. So, he is saying that two things I think about this word. We call it patience. And I think there are two parts to it. One, there's an attitude that says, I intend, I'm going to, this is my mindset, this is my attitude. The second part is, now I'm going to stay in it. I'm not going to run from it. I'm not going to get out of it. I'm going to stay in it because there's a goal out there that I am seeking for. There is something that I am looking for. I really want this. So when I talk about, or we talk about patience, we're talking about an attitude that keeps us, an attitude in the moment that keeps us looking to the future. When I like the word long-suffering instead of patience. But the reason patience has to be the word is because long-suffering doesn't fit the song. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, patience. It just doesn't work. So you got to use patience. Sorry, Michael, he likes long-suffering too. But it has to be patience for that reason, for the song to make any sense. Now, we've established this idea, all right? Now we have this concept of patience has these two parts, and that's what we're talking about. Now, let's think about how do what does this attitude mean to be patient? To have these two things, what does it mean? Well, the passage just read, James chapter 5, says, number one, we have to have an otherworldly view. That's what it means for us. An otherworldly view. Now, in the passage, he says, the farmer waits. Plants, and he's wanting to, and I don't know what's going on. If I'm doing this, and it doesn't matter to me, I'm just saying, if I'm doing it, you can tell me to stop whatever I'm doing. So we're going to try another one. Yep. Is it a battery or a whole new system? Test 1, 2. So, now, okay, fellas, this worked out well as a living example of talking about patience and perseverance. Just hang on, and it's coming. There you go. Now, so back to James 5. Notice what he says. Why does the farmer plant, and why does he wait for the rain so he can get a harvest? Then notice what he says. You be patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord is at hand. Patience for me and you means that I have an otherworldly view of life. Most people are stuck in the moment. Most people are stuck in the material. And many of us find ourselves overwhelmed by things happening around us, concerns, problems, desires, failures. And we forget that this world is not our home. To be a patient person, James is telling us to be people who are looking for the coming of the Lord. I have to have an otherworldly view. Number two in patience, and this is the tough one also, I have to have an other person view. Let me ask you a question. How easy would life be in patience if there weren't any people around? Don't you think people are what makes it so hard to be patient? Well, listen to what Paul said to the Ephesians. In Ephesians 4, with all lowliness and gentleness, with long suffering, bearing with one another in love. Why? To keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. God's view of patience as one of the fruits of the Spirit is so that I will have a view of other people, not just of me. I have to be one who is willing constantly to be thinking about other people, not just me. In our class this morning, in the high school class, talking about not grieving the Holy Spirit. And in that context, one of the things that it says is, do not steal, but work with your hands what is good. And we all realize that most everybody knows that stealing is wrong. I mean, everybody does. Even thieves know it. Because if you take something from a thief, he's going to be upset. But wait a minute, you took something from me, I don't care. So they know there's something not right about that. So he's not saying, by the way, in case you didn't know, don't steal. He's not saying that. He's saying, work to take care of yourself so that you can provide for those who don't have. We grieve the Spirit of God when we are so focused on ourselves that we don't have an other person view. We do what we do because of other people, and especially as the church. This is who we are. So to be patient in my life, for you to be patient in your life, it means I have to have an otherworldly view and I have to have an other person view. Now, what am I going to do with this? As I move forward in this realm of trying to be patient, what do I need to do? We'll go to Psalm 103. I want you to look what the psalmist says, starting in verse number 6. As I move forward in this concept of the fruit of the Spirit is patience, what am I going to take with me moving forward in this view? I want you to take with you this view of God. Notice what he says, verse 6. The Lord executes righteousness and justice for all who are oppressed. Number one, I know that God is just. That's what I know. Now, what does justice mean? Justice means You get paid for what you do. That's justice. You receive the punishment because you committed the crime. That's justice. Now, if you get less than you deserve, that's mercy. But justice says, here is what flows from that. I know God is just. Number 2, I know it because He's told me. Verse 7, He made known His ways to Moses, His acts to the children of Israel. When the psalmist wrote this, he was sure that the children of Israel knew who God was. And they knew He was just. So what I know about God is that He is just, and He's told me that. Now look what He says about Him, what the psalmist says about God. Verse 8, the Lord is merciful and gracious, slow to anger, and abounding in mercy. God is slow. God is patient. God is a patient being. Now, as I'm moving forward with this fruit of the Spirit, every one of these is the fruit of the Spirit. And the Spirit is the Spirit of God. So this is the fruit of God's Spirit. He is patient. None of us should doubt it. None of us should question it. It is a fact that God is patient. But look at verse 9. He will not always strive with us, nor will He keep His anger forever. Are you tired of things that are happening around you in the culture? Are you tired of having these cultural things thrown in your face? Apparently, I think it was Aubrey, had I think she was in the kitchen or something, and Blakely had turned on Disney and was watching some cartoon. And all of a sudden, the whole point of it was to have this little boy questioning whether he really was a boy. And she came running in there, wait a minute, whoa, stop, we're not doing that. Doesn't that just tire you out that you just can't get away from it? Have you found yourself being less than patient and wanting something to be done? Think about God. He's patient. But it won't last forever. So I need to understand that. But now check verse 10. He has not dealt with us according to our sins, nor punished us according to our iniquities. Oh, it's coming. Someday God's going to have enough. It's going to be over. But in the meantime, aren't you glad that God has not punished any one of us in the way justice would demand? Aren't you glad He's gracious and merciful? How many of us would be here if God were not patient? How many of us would have the lives that we have if God were not holding out? It's not going to last forever, this patience, because it will come to an end. I need to take that mentality with me going forward. I'll close with a few practical thoughts. How do you develop patience? I mean, if you decide right now, okay, I'm going to be a patient person. What do I need to do? Let me give you a few thoughts. Number one, figure out where your impatience lies. If you think you need to work on patience, then think to yourself, where do I find my greatest temptation to impatience? Where is that? And in knowing that, then identify it and set it off over here and look at it and see how you're going to deal with that, because that's the area that I have to work on the most. Number two, of course, pray to God. Tell Him, God, I'm going to be patient today, and I want you to help me. Now, as we all know, be careful, because God will often give us what we ask for, but maybe not in the way we would like for Him to give it to us. Number three, find somebody that can be an accountability partner with you. If you're saying, I want to be a patient person and I'm having trouble, so I'm going to talk to this person over here because this person right here is going to help me, and they're going to call me to account. They're going to ask me constantly, how you doing? I think that's a good thing. That'll help develop patience. Practice listening. You want to be a patient person? Practice listening. Do you ever find yourself walking in a certain direction and somebody's coming and you know what's about to happen? You know, they're going to corner you and they're going to talk to you. And everything about you says, let me get out of this situation. Let me go this way to avoid that person. Well, do the opposite. Walk up to them. Engage a conversation. Force yourself to listen. And in listening to some people and in some things, you can't help but begin to develop patience. Another suggestion someone gave was to slow down your life. Slow it down. I did a wedding last night for a young man that I coached in basketball, I think 8 to 10 years ago. And at the wedding were other guys who had been in that team. And this little 6th grader that I had is now 6'3". Where did the time go? You find that you don't have time to do what you want to do because it's just going so fast. Slow it down. Just slow it down. One suggestion to do that: go hang out in a line to get something that you want that you would normally avoid. Go hang out in a line. Have you ever said, okay, I'm going to go to Taco Bell, and I'm going to go through the drive-thru, and the line is backed up all the way around the front of the building? Every time I say, not me. Now I'm still going to Taco Bell, but I'm getting out and going in. Stay in the line. Here's another suggestion. Some of you are going to go, that's not happening. Watch a baseball game. If you want to practice and learn patience, watch a baseball game. I like baseball, but man, it's slow. It's slow. You want to develop patience? Figure out things that will force you to be patient. Now, why do we even talk about it? Because it's the fruit of the Spirit. If I am a child of God, I need to be patient. I need to stay in the moment while looking to the future goal. I need to be patient because other people need me to be patient. And I need to be patient because how many times have you needed someone to be patient with you? See, patience fits all of us so well. I need it for me. I need it from others to me. I need it for God because I want God to give it to me. Patience. That should be a high priority. And may we learn to be patient people. And as connect groups today were meeting, one of the points was to say, how can we as a congregation be patient? Joe will understand this because he said it 100 times. Our elders, I know, have been told many times, things just don't get done quickly enough around here. You just don't move fast enough. And Joe has said every time, we move. We just move at the pace of a turtle. That's what he said. Well, it's okay. I don't mind the pace of a turtle. I want to keep moving. But if it needs to be a pace of a turtle, that's all right. Now, there are some times we need to kick the turtle ahead, maybe pick it up, move it a little bit, but patient. How do we be patient as a church? Be patient with our elders. They're patient with us. Be patient with children. Be patient with older adults. Be patient with song leaders who sometimes sing songs we don't like or don't pitch them where we want them. Be patient with preachers who just talk all the time and don't say much, not the way you want it. Be patient as people. God is patient. Praise Him for that. Tonight, if He's been patient with you this long, and you need to handle the situation before His patience runs out, to be immersed into Jesus Christ before He sends His Son again, to get right with the Lord before something happens and you realize I didn't get to fix that in my life. We're here to help you. Our shepherds will meet you.